Hi everyone, Dave here. I had set out yesterday thinking that I would blog throughout Lent, but overnight I've changed my mind and decided that vlogging might be the way to go. So this is day 2 of Lent, Thursday the 27th of Feb, and my first Lent vlog. I want to share throughout Lent some of the stories about how being a guide dog owner has informed my faith, because for me it's been the most profound experience of my life and taught me so much. But before we get into all of that, a little thought this morning. I noticed that Katie Tupling, one of the co-founders together with Bill Bravner and myself, the co-founders of Disability in Jesus, Katie's not well today. I'm suffering. I've got a broken collarbone at the moment. I've got other health issues kicking off. And it strikes me that this is the way for disabled people in ministry, that it takes its toll. We have to build our ministry around our health issues and do the best we can. But it bothers me that that's not fully appreciated by the church. I'm surrounded by people with severe health issues and disabilities who also have really powerful ministries. To name but a few, Ian Wiley, Alex Cumber, Tim Rourke, Bill and Katie, myself. I believe we all have ministry and gifts that the church needs. But the church doesn't kind of know how to deal with us, because we also have these complex issues that have to be dealt with and accommodated. And we're not good at that. So I'm going to leave that one there, but I'd like you to think about it, pray about it. And if you have any insights to pass on to the wider church, share them with us and we'll try and raise them. But I think the church is missing out on a huge amount of giftedness from disabled people who have powerful things to say to the church, if we only could learn to accommodate their needs. Anyway, so if we're going to talk through Lent about the way that being a guide dog owner has informed my faith, we have to start not with Jarvis, who you've all heard about, but Jarvis's predecessor, my first guide dog, Abbott. Abbott changed my life. He turned my life completely upside down. I got the news about my sight loss in 1987, and it turned my world upside down. I had to send my driving license back. It meant I couldn't drive. It meant I couldn't do my job, and my career came to an end. And it felt like the end of the world. And for a good 10 years after that, I wouldn't talk about it. I wouldn't deal with it. I must have been hell to be around. And there are plenty of people around who can tell you that I was. There are some who would say I still am. But for that 10-year period, it was awful. At the end of that 10-year period, I'd got to a point where I knew that I had to do something about it. I couldn't let this bogeyman that was my sight loss wreck my life. I was in danger of losing my wife Denise and everything else, all my friends, because I was just not facing things. So what I did, for better or worse, was I went off on my own to find out more about what being a blind person really meant. So I didn't want to tell anybody, especially my wife, in case they tried to hold me to this, but I went and visited local blind societies. I contacted the RNIB, this sort of thing, to find out what would happen if I put myself on the visual impairment register. Eventually, this path led to Guide Dog's door. It came to a point where Guide Dogs offered me a 3-day assessment to go to Middlesbrough Guide Dog Centre to see if I could have a guide dog. And at that point, I had to tell Denise what I'd been up to because I was going to be away for 3 days. She cried. I cried. Anyway, a few days later, I found myself on a bus going to Middlesbrough, to the Middlesbrough Guide Dog Centre to have this 3-day assessment. And I met this dog called Bumble. Bumble was a beautiful, very like Jarvis, a beautiful golden retriever. And the first thing they did, first trip out with Bumble, we got to our first curb, and Lynn, the trainer that was with me, said to me, "Give me Bumble back, go to the curb and show me how you cross the road." Well, until that point, how I'd been crossing a road was by standing at the curb and listening to the traffic. And if I couldn't hear anything, I assumed it was safe. I could see a little bit, but I couldn't judge the speed and distance of the traffic. So I would take my life in my hands, quite literally. And if there was no noise, I'd cross the road. In the preceding 6 months, I'd been run over 3 times. One of those times by a panda car, which was very awkward and very embarrassing. So I handed Bumble back to Lynn, stood at the curb, listened, and was just about to set off across the road when Lynn grabbed the hood of my coat and pulled me backwards. And as I staggered backwards, a bus went past. So she said to me, "You're going to get run over by a milk float because you can't hear them." Now, at that time, back in 2000, that wasn't such a big deal. But now, with the dawn of electric cars, that's a huge deal. Anyway, moving on. I'm standing at the curb now with Bumble. I listen to the traffic again and I decide this is the way it works. I love this. And this is one of the things that I've learned about faith through guide dogs. I stood at the curb and listened to the traffic and I couldn't hear anything. So with not hearing anything, I thought it must be safe to cross. So I gave Bumble the command, forward. What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Absolutely nothing. Bumble sat down and refused to move. Guide dogs refer to this as intelligent disobedience. So it's my decision when I think we should cross, but Bumble has the power to overrule me if it isn't safe. Why is this a spiritual lesson? I think this happens in prayer. We pray, "God, could you just sort this out? Could you give me this? Could we have that? Whatever." And we think it doesn't happen. And what's really going on is God is exercising that power of intelligent disobedience. He is saying to us, that is not safe for you, that's not good for you, and we're not moving.